you know. Now, you're cutting off aid at a time when several human rights officials are really warning that Gaza is on the verge of starvation. You know, I mean, it's a real possibility. These people are facing famine and starvation, and you cut off aid. You know, because there is allegedly 12 people that are members of Hamas who have done this and so on, out of 12,000 employees. You know, I mean, nobody talks about 158 employees by UNRWA, employed by UNRWA, that were killed by the Israelis. But, you know, I want to go back to the issue of famine and the likelihood of starvation, famine, and so on. What is your response to that?
So the humanitarian situation in Gaza is dire. You have seen us focus from the beginning of this conflict on trying to improve the humanitarian situation. You've seen the Secretary travel to Israel to press Israeli officials to allow more humanitarian assistance to flow into Gaza. We have a special envoy we appointed who is in the region working every day on increasing the amount of food and water and medicine that goes into Gaza. And you have heard us say, and the Secretary traveled and met with members of UNRWA in the region, how important the work that UNRWA is, or that UNRWA does, is to Gaza and to civilians in Gaza. And it's important that work be continued. And I would say it is because that work is so important that it is also important that UNRWA and the United Nations take this investigation seriously. I note you said allegedly, and that is very much true, but UNRWA found that the evidence that was presented to them was credible enough that they fired 8 of these employees and have suspended 2 others. And so we think the work's important, but this is an investigation that needs to be conducted thoroughly. There needs to be accountability. If appropriate, there need to be remedial measures to ensure that this can't happen again. And there's no reason that the United Nations can't do this investigation quickly. And in fact, because of the important work that UNRWA does, it's important that they can carry out this investigation quickly.
So what would be satisfactory for the United States and its allies to sort of say, okay, aid will resume?
So I only speak for the United Nations, or for the United States, not for other countries, but the steps that I just outlined are what we want to see. A full investigation, and as we said in the statement we put out on Friday, and we have said since then, we welcome the investigation that the United Nations has launched. We want to see accountability. We've seen initial steps to accountability, and that UNRWA has fired 8 of the employees and suspended 2 others while they conduct the investigation. And we want to see measures put in place to ensure, to the extent possible, that this can never happen again. And so we are engaging with UNRWA. We are engaging with the United Nations about what those steps ought to look like. I won't read out the details of those conversations, but they are in the buckets that I just outlined.